I'm usually asked, how does layer update the Revit model? And so basically, I wanted to take this opportunity to drive us through the two ways that you can do that. So in this specific example, I'm in my healthcare project. I will be focusing basically on asset management. I have a layer category for assets and the corresponding Revit category that we'll be using are lighting fixtures. Now, the first and most straightforward way to do that is actually by working under my models section. So in this case, as I said, I will be focusing on my lighting fixtures. So when I click on this category, I can see that basically every line item in this view basically represents an actual Revit object. I have a couple of table views. I have actually the group that I want to focus today is those patient room sconces, and I basically have created a filter where I'm like grouping those in a table view, and I can do the same thing with my model view, where I can just have more of a visual understanding of where those are placed inside my model. Okay, so the first thing that I can do here is basically I can create a field where I will be, for instance, tracking the asset's condition. So the easiest way to do it is I will create a field and it will be a select input field. And I want to, let's say, document the asset's condition. I will create three options. One will be good, green color, and average with a yellow color, and it needs repair with a red. All right. So basically in this scenario, what I'm doing is I will be documenting one by one the condition for each of these assets. I can do it in a table view or in the model view. We can do it in the model view just so things are a little bit more visual. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and click on each of these guys and document their condition. So good, average, good, there, good. All right, so basically what I've done is that I've gone through my 7 sconces and I've documented each of one's condition. So just to make sure that everything has a condition here. All right, so basically the next step is to set up a Revit automation. So I'll go under my automations and create an automation. In this case, I want to pass the asset condition, right? So I'll choose a trigger and I would say when an element in the category is updated. My category is the lighting fixtures. My field is the assets condition. And I will use my comments from Revit. That's a Revit property. And I will use the asset condition. So I will set up the automation, which what that will do is I will actually queue up the changes to be transferred to Revit. So this should probably take a few seconds. I see them being queued up. So I'll just switch to Revit. And I'm in my schedule here. I have my layer project connected to my Revit model. So basically all I need to do is sync parameters to see those changes coming through. I can click on each of them and see that those are there. So all I need to do is accept the changes. So there you go. That's the first way to pass information between layer and Revit. All right, so let's explore the second way, right? So basically the first direction that we saw was kind of like working per instance. But there's another way to do that. There's another way to update your Revit model, basically by grouping a series of objects under one layer element and use that layer element and the information from that layer element to update that group of Revit objects. So the first thing that we need to identify here is a Revit property that is common for all of those 7 sconces. And if you see here, I have a field that's called identity that basically exposes Revit properties. And I can easily see that the type name for all of those sconces is common. So they all share this 40-watt halogen. So what I'll do is that I will use that as my glue to basically connect my asset from my layer category with all of those 7 sconces. Basically, what I've done here under assets is that I've created a line item where I'm tracking information about my patient room sconce, and I have a description and some different properties. And also I've created a report that shows the data in a document template. Now, what we will basically do is that we will connect this asset, the specific asset, with those 7 sconces from our Revit model. And basically, we've already identified that the type name is common amongst them. So basically what I need from that layer category is to have a field that has the same value as that Revit property, which I've done here with this model field. So then basically what I'll need to do is I will go under my patient responses, and I will set up what we call a lookup. So I will add just one more field. I will search for the lookup. And that would be let's say that I want to pass the barcode into Revit. So in here, I will choose, basically here's where I'm setting up my automatic lookup. I will choose the type name from the lighting fixtures category, and then from the asset category, I will choose, as we said earlier, the model. So basically those 2 values from the left, the value from the left matches the value from the right. And all I need to look up is the barcode from my assets category. And basically now, with basically one lookup, all of those 7 sconces have adopted the barcode that comes from that assets category, because basically all of those 7 sconces are connected with my asset line item. So that's that. And then the final step is exactly the same. I will set up another automation. I can actually disable this if I need to. And I'll set up a new automation where it will be basically similar to what we did earlier. I will choose a trigger from my lighting fixtures category. In this situation, I'll select the barcode, which is the lookup field that we set up. And I will say update a Revit parameter. Again, I will update my comments. And I'll choose the barcode. It's telling me that 7 lighting fixture elements are matching now this automation. So it will queue up those changes. And then in the activity tab, I should see those starting to queuing up. All right, so then now if I go into my Revit project again and hit sync parameters, I see that those 7 changes have already been queued up. And there you go. So that's the second way to update properties from layer into Revit. Again, there's not a right or wrong way. It's just the one way. Basically, I'm working at a singular level, basically working at each Revit element individually. And the second direction was basically like grouping all of my 7 items under one element and using that layer element to update the properties for these 7 Revit objects.